Welcome back, guys. My name is Dimitri Sebastian,
And I'm Wes Kendall.
and we are back in session where your fitness and lifestyle questions are answered and bro science is put to the test. We have another week. We're looking into another actually bodybuilding thing that's going to be super interesting to talk about because some things we expected happen, some things that we didn't expect happened. And as you guys see, we have now entered into spooky season. We live in Arizona. There's no such thing as sweater weather. There's no such thing as personality season.
You know what there is, though? Cover up your calves weather. You know,
There
which
you
you
go.
don't have to worry about. But,
Let me tell you
the
what.
rest of us.
But if you're like me,
Yeah.
they have these things called joggers, and you can
Yeah.
still flex on them, and they know what they're seeing. If they get tighter, around the end of the leg, they're gonna know. So
Yeah.
don't hide what you got. Flaunt it, boys. If you don't have the calves, we have solutions for that
So
too.
it's like yoga pants for your calves, basically.
Oh no, it looks great.
Yeah.
You got that cover. Soccer players, they've been doing it for years. They've been hiding it from us, and then Europe came
Baseball
over here.
players, like everyone, all the girls are always like, "Oh, I love those baseball pants." you
I
know?
mean, baseball pants are very flattering.
Yeah.
Because you got those guys are not in great shape. They're great. They're in great shape for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And then they hit 30 and it's just like, and then their bodies just fall apart and their butts still look great.
Yeah.
So you guys have heard it here first. Baseball pants and joggers. These are the solutions.
Yes.
For more fashion
These are tips for you.
for more fashion. See, my whole thing is I throw on giant hoodies and then shorts.
Yeah.
And then people are like, man, that guy might be really buff.
I think it like happened overnight here. All of a sudden, I just saw people wearing hoodies and pants. Like it just like a flip was switched.
It was the first. It was somewhere early in October because it's getting colder here sooner than it usually does for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I was at like the grocery store in the middle of the day and it was like hot.
Yeah.
But it had been really cool up until about noon, and I'm just like seeing people in long sleeve shirts just looking like they're suffering.
Yeah.
And how very Arizona of us to be like, it's comfortable out for 1 hour. I'm gonna act like it's fall.
Yeah, you know, fucking winter up just to get the day started.
There. It's there.
Yeah.
We're here. And then for us,
Yeah.
like winter is 60 degrees, and a lot of people are like, "That's our summer." Yeah, welcome to it. That's why they always talk about how America, it's like like 80% obese, 80% overweight, and I don't conclude the overweight statistic as much because like any guy who like pushes a fair amount of weight and is below 6'2" on the BMI is overweight.
Right.
Like it's just how it is. Like it doesn't make sense. It needs to be updated.
BMI is set up to hurt your feelings.
Mine specifically.
Yeah.
And that's why you flex your neck when you're getting taped. But as far as like obesity goes, I feel like we can't have it here. We have it. It's usually like older people and everything. And there's some people who like haven't quite found the way to the healthy lifestyle. Peace be upon them. But the vast majority of people, I don't see that many fat people here, but I think it's because it's so hot.
It's hard. It's hard to be fat here.
It's just like you're carrying a sweater, and it's just like we talk about how the thermogenics and trying to sweat things out is not the way to lose weight. However, if that's your entire life, if you're just sweating 24/7, maybe it does work a little
I think
bit.
it's like also pressure of like you can't cover up the fatness as easily here. You know,
Maybe it is. Maybe
like
it is.
You're forced to deal with it more.
So if you live in the Midwest, if you're up there in Ohio or whatever, and you're thinking to yourself like, man, I really need to get this together, just like move on over down to Arizona.
They're all fat still. So that just
No, that's different. That's different because we're talking about the Florida Georgia line. They're really fat. If you go to like Tampa Bay, they're Scientologists.
like
they
culture,
they
right?
eat very healthy. But if you go to like Miami, everyone looks great.
Yeah.
There's gotta. You're right. I think we actually just we proved your theory.
Oh, okay.
It's a shame issue.
Yeah.
Because if you're by the coast of Miami, like if you're old and rich, be whatever size you want.
Yeah.
But if you're everybody else, like you gotta have like you gotta come slightly correct.
I got to wear those button-down shirts.
Exactly.
flip-flops and
As a Puerto Rican, I need to go buy myself a white pantsuit
Yeah.
or whatever they're called, like a Havana
Or
suit.
like a silk collared shirt.
Exactly. And then I got to get myself one of those hats that Pitbull wears and just like dale.
Mr. Worldwide.
So yes, that is our new. We're going to be selling that online. The
What are we
Arizona
talking about
method.
again?
The 55.95. You can find it on our Instagrams. The Arizona method. Just feel bad.
Yeah. It works.
So we're going to be rolling into talking about the Olympia.
Yes.
And-
Which is, for those of you who don't know, like the Super Bowl of bodybuilding.
So actually, here for people who actually like me who don't fully understand the structure of it, because we think sports, you say Super Bowl.
Yes.
Super Bowl, before that there's a playoffs, before that there's a regular season. So for bodybuilding, there's the Olympia, there's the Arnold, and like is the Arnold the playoffs? Is that just another separate
I would
thing?
say the Arnold is like the semifinals. Or I don't. I guess now I'm mixing sports, right?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, I get it. I'm tracking. You do the best you can.
Yeah,
He
well-
can't, I did not prepare him for this.
There's like 3. I'm so bad at sports that I'm like mixing them up. This is why. This is the only sport I really know
shooty
about.
hoops.
Yeah.
Stick ball.
Dunking touchdowns.
Exactly.
Yeah. So basically, there's like a few end of the year pro shows that people do to get ready that are technically like considered the semifinals for the Olympia.
Okay.
Because what happens is, as a pro bodybuilder, you have to qualify to compete in the championships. In order to do that, you have to either win a show or score enough points. So the people who can't win a show on their own, just like beat everybody, then you have to score high enough on like lower level shows in order to make it. So those 3 shows at the end of the year, the Arnold, the Chicago, and the New York Pro, those 3, like, if you are confident that you can win, then all you have to do is one of those 3 shows and win. Then you qualify. But if you're not confident that you can win, then you have to win or you have to score high enough on all the lower level shows and then compete in the semifinals.
So we'll say that, like, if you go to the Arnold and you get like 3rd place, that's
Yes.
worth a certain, and we won't get into the point system. That's
Yeah.
we'd probably need a whiteboard.
Yeah.
But each show is worth varying numbers of points depending on how important they are. And then you have your card, and then like you need a certain number of points or
win.
just in your segment or an overall.
And overall.
Okay, see, that makes it a lot harder. That makes
Yes,
so now
so
you
it
gotta
has to be an
you gotta
overall.
really know what you're doing, or else you could, because even if you're like pretty confident, it's just
Yeah.
like let's go ahead and like run the gambit a little bit because we're not sure.
So like if you're really good, and it helps the more advanced bodybuilders and like the more, the people who have been doing it longer, because like if you're really good, then you just have to bring your best like at the end of the year. But if you're not and you're still coming up through the ranks, then you have to keep, on your prep pretty much the whole year.
That actually explains a lot, because when you're tracking with like Fitspo bodybuilders, we've even talked about before. There's a lot more like female bodybuilders these days than men, and it's because it seems like for you, if you follow someone who's like on a lower level, it's like show every 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like that's suffering. Like that's so many. It's like 16 weeks to 16
Hard
weeks
in your body, in your mind.
And then like if you're following someone who's just like
Chris Bumstead.
exactly, we'll talk about him.
Yeah.
And he like he's just hanging out, having a nice time, pushing his like his t-shirts and his products and working out and having a great life. And then she's like at the end of the year, she's like, and we're gonna go and win this, and then we're gonna show up to the Olympia and apparently win that too.
Yeah,
Which we can actually roll straight to that. So, as I don't think you should be surprised if you guys don't know who Chris Bumstead is yet, and
This
you
is
care
the
about.
classic physique division, by the way.
He is an interesting dude. He's actually fun to follow on Instagram, and seems to be a genuinely nice guy, and he just can't stop winning.
Well, he deserves it. It seems like he works really hard. I mean, just from like several interviews I've watched with him in different podcasts and episodes, it seems like he doesn't even like push really hard on like the unhealthy stuff. Like he's honest about his steroid use and everything, and like talks about his doses, and it's like, wow, it's like seems very reasonable, very conservative.
Exactly.
Compared to someone you'd think.
He's a freak of nature in a lot of ways. Like if you go and search him, like when he was young, he's always been enormous.
Yeah.
And like he has like family members that are also enormous, and it is nice to hear someone say like, hey, look, like I have like a more holistic way of approaching this. Like I don't like over freak out and stuff. I do use these supplements. I do use these PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, in the baseball realm. And for those of you who are thinking like they use performance enhancing drugs, I know I was the same way as you, but like it's not like other sports where
It's not tested on anything. They don't test anything.
it's kind of it's like an open secret. It's like we don't go on stage and be like, thank you, drugs. It's like they just kind of do it. They try to be reasonable about it. And he's a good example of someone who shows that like sometimes less is more. And then because I very rarely have I ever seen someone been like, oh yeah, more is more, because there was like this few years there where it was all like the HGH gut for like across the board. I was like, this is not what it should be.
And you could tell that the judges and the, I guess administrators of the bodybuilding scene have been trying to cut down on that drug look. Like, they're putting more emphasis on this classic physique and men's physique division, less on the open bodybuilding. Especially, you can see it the most in the women's divisions. Like, they're not letting them, I guess, basically take shortcuts by, getting super shredded, and instead they actually have to work more on like building like quality sustainable muscle.
That is, I think, what's boosting the popularity.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I didn't pay attention to it at all for many years because I thought it was kind of silly. It's just like, why do I really care to see a bunch of people who look like kind of gross on stage? And that was like across like every single thing. It was like, we think
All
of
the
Arnold
divisions.
and it was like, oh yeah, everyone's just like really holistically awesome, in great shape. And then it's suddenly like, it just became like this freak show.
Yeah.
And then slowly over the years, every single thing has gotten to be a lot more like, oh, like, okay, this is like a chase for excellence, not a chase for like, how much of an alien can I become? Like, instead of like, even like, I like to
Those
think
divisions are still there, but they're not the focus anymore.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think of like the Hulk.
Yeah.
Like, remember like the first Hulk movie when he was like bright green? It was like really, it wasn't the first one, but I can't remember. It was like in the early 2000s.
The Edward Norton one?
I think so. And it was just a terrible, and like the Hulk looked like so weird and like just overly big. And then you see like the Hulk now in like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Just like he just looks like a really huge person. And it's just like, I think everyone's leaning towards that. Like, let's get away from this like weird like swamp creature buff thing and like let's get back to, and I think it's going to make the money. I think it's going to encourage sport. And I think that in my way of looking at it, I get it. It's kind of boring, but also if it's more interesting people, it's driving up the healthy thing. It's like more people see more. Like, I know that Fitspo, there's a lot of, let's get into a little bit of a campfire talk. When people get,
All right, pull up a chair, kids.
like people get really mad about the social media, like unrealistic body things. I really love when Fitspo people admit when they do janky shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I pin or I do these things that are unhealthy. Like, please do that.
Yeah.
Like, don't say,
Bring awareness to the
take
situation.
my caffeine powder and you will look like me. Like, go find something high to jump off of and go find a way to get to the bottom real fast. Because it's shitty, and it's like how you make kids sad. And like,
Well, something that happened, which is interesting, is social media and Google basically made it so people couldn't hide being, fake natties as
Really?
much as they used to. Because like before, it's like the only time you'd ever see these people is, when they did their show or in a magazine.
Yeah.
Now you're seeing like these people, so they'd be like, oh, I don't look like this all the time, blah, blah, blah. Or, they're like, they don't see actually how ridiculous they really are or something like that, or how much progress they've made in like 1 year. You can't put on 40 pounds of muscle in 1 year, naturally. Sorry.
I mean, if you want to tell me the secret, I'll listen.
So it's like, then you're seeing these people who like said that they're natty their whole life. And then you go back and look and you're like, wait, from 2012 to 2013, you gained 40 pounds of muscle and lost 20% body fat.
It's ridiculous.
Now you're like a sauce fiend.
Okay, so
like,
that's what you mean. Like the internet has created accountability.
Yes, it has.
So it's like, no.
Yes, like, you're definitely not natty.
Like the one that frustrates me most right now, like the current one, is like there's a lot of these really young guys who are coming into the scene. They look awesome. They look great. Good for them. And then they'll always be like their before and after is like them right before puberty.
Oh yeah.
Like I hate when people post a picture of them when they're 12. I used to look like garbage and now I look like this. It's like, bro, you didn't have any free testosterone floating in your blood yet. Like, let's not make this because if
you're 13.
If I'm 17 and I'm like kind of pudgy and I'm just like, oh man, like I kind of want to change things around, and you show me that to this, it's like you were going from 13 to like you at like 19 at like peak, and it's just like that's not No, why does everyone want to rag to Rich's story? I know it's better for your clicks. I know it's better. Like, look,
those are ridiculous.
Like, some of us are just from middle class, upper middle class backgrounds. I'm sorry, you're normal.
The only person who like can really do that is like that fat to fit to fat guy. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He's the only one who I respect that can do that. Because it's like, you know what? You did it as a full blown adult.
Exactly.
Like,
You're talking about the guy who like to show his clients that they were full of shit. He like went and got fat.
He was one of the first people to revamp keto. Like since he was like one of the original keto guys. But if you type in fat to fit to fat, it's like,
I've seen
you see the guy, he's on the commercial, he's like doing this pose and he gained 50 pounds on purpose. He lost it, he gained it again, and then he lost it again just to show him that it's like, bro,
dude,
it's all choices. It's all lifestyle.
Crazy. Okay, campfire talk out. Put your fires out. Smokey. All
right, back to the Olympia.
So, what's his name? The guy who.
So open bodybuilding.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Okay. So open.
Big Ramy, there we go.
Yeah, this is the heavyweights, the guys that like, used to be the only division. This one I think was interesting. The guy who was supposed to win won, like the previous champ, Big Ramy. But what happened is the second place, the guy who almost beat him, it was way, way, way closer than anyone thought.
And if you pull it up on the Mr. Olympia LLC, it's a few down, but you'll see them all posing next to each other. And it's funny because if you zoom in and you look at it, the differences are just so minute. Like,
Right.
you could like tell me, you could move those things around, maybe like except for maybe third place, although even still. But if you just like switch the colors around on their things and like photoshopped it, the second place or third place and first place, I'd be like, okay, I don't know. Sure.
Yeah, if you like change their numbers, it'd be hard to tell.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's just like it's really close, and
It is. It's like barely. I mean, it was supposed to be just like a sweeping victory, but basically the Big Remy's legs and back were a little bit better, and he won like one more pose than the other guy. So it was a really close call, and for the people who like were fans, it was very exciting for them.
Which I'm not going to sit here and throw stones, but today I found out that some of even the guys use filler on their muscles, and I was very disenfranchised.
Yes.
I didn't know that. Get it together, bodybuilding. It should not be a thing. What the hell? I'm letting you guys literally put needles in your body and inject chemicals.
That's not enough.
It's not enough. Now you got to also put plastic in there too. Like, come on.
Oh, it's like collagen and shit. Hydrochloric, or no, what's it called? Hyaluronic acid. That's what it is. It's like the shit that the girls put in their cheeks. You know what I'm talking about?
Hyaluronic bullshit. Isn't
It's
it?
like the cheek stuff.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I'm mad about it. Mostly because I didn't know. It's like you're hiding this from me.
Yeah.
But come on.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't know. Maybe it's just like the fact that I respect the powerlifting community and the CrossFit community. I'm just like, I like strong people. And also there was a couple of years there where everyone was always like, yeah, like he might be like really big, but it's not functional muscle. And everyone's just like, shut up. Like, what are you talking about? And then when you say there's filler, you're giving ammunition to those people. And the people who make those arguments aren't even in
keyboard
very
gangsters who
they're
actually
not
don't
even in very
lift.
good shape.
You're giving them ammo. That's what you're
Exactly.
doing. I agree. I don't like filler, but there's no testing of any kind. So
Yeah, well, you live with the world you got.
Yeah.
To move on to the next one,
yeah, what's
men's
next?
physique.
that one was interesting too.
We were talking about it a little bit, and it's one of those things where it's like men's physique is like cute guy area. Like that's
They
where
call
you're
it
like,
men's bikini. That's what they call it.
it's like the guys who are successful
That's the one I compete
on Instagram. You're a cute guy. Don't worry. it was implied, Wes. Don't make me say it out loud.
I appreciate it.
It's the guys who like do really great as like Instagram model or stuff like that. They're like doing like they're like really like stretching their midsection out like while they like hold like a bang energy and
Yes.
very beach bod. But like it's gotten all over the place. It's like you got short guys, you got tall guys, and sometimes you have to ask yourself like, what are the judges really looking for?
Little bird waist and wide ass shoulders.
But let me tell you, the winners always look pretty consistent, and it's just it's insane midsection, filled out pecs, wide shoulders. They look like action figures.
Yeah. Well, they look beyond action figures, I think. At this
Really,
point.
yeah.
It's like, geez, fucking, like I sometimes walking up next to a, men's physique character, or not character. It's just,
He's not even a person anymore.
it's just like, they're not big people, but they're so wide. It's like they're taking up so much distance with their back and their shoulders. But, besides that, you would almost see them in a normal shirt and like think they're just like an athletic person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
They don't look like a quarter linebacker.
I think a lot of people guys who want to be buff. It was funny for a long time. Every trainer would be like, when you ask a client, what are they looking for? And they're like, Brad Pitt from Fight Club.
Yeah.
That was usually like for a very long
That's where
time.
men's physique started, but
Exactly.
it's not there
So
anymore.
that's the kind of shit like when they think about it, they're like, I want to be wide, full up top, and then narrow, and then like as far as my legs go, I don't really care.
Yeah.
And that's usually like the vast majority, and it's so based on your skeletal structure and your like muscle placement. Like guys like me, like I'm very like boxy. Like I like even when I get down to my lowest weight, like I'll have like the like my V cut and all that stuff, but like I still maintain like a pretty square thing. And like the only way for me to like hourglass it all is like pump out my lats.
Well, basically, it's like your waist to your hip ratio. If your hips are narrower than your waist, I'm sorry, you're screwed. it's like you're never going to be a champion. And that's most of us.
I don't think I'm going to
That's
be a
most of us.
champion. I'm sorry to think.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, you can diet to affect that a little bit, and you could pose, but if someone's standing next to you and their hips are contrasted to a better ratio than yours, you can't beat them. I'm sorry.
That's an interesting thought process. Because yeah, I guess you're right. Like, because like this is what I talk about. Like I got like kind of I got a trunk.
Yeah.
And then my waist does taper a little bit, and then my mids, like I don't know where these people put their guts. Like I don't know,
Well,
like
this is
where
what it is.
where
It's
their
like-
organs go.
If this bone side to side, and when you're lean, is wider than it is here, then you're in good shape. But that's why I say I wear that belt for those ab muscles to be smaller. If this right here when you're lean is wider than your hips, then you have to do a twist to the side like that.
And that's no good.
And if you are standing next to someone who has a front pose that's smaller than that, you can't beat that front pose.
Which I actually love that because Christian Guzman had a big complaint about that when he moved to Texas.
Yeah.
He was like,
Because they made him do a front pose.
because they didn't do a front pose. He's like, I don't front pose, I twist.
Yeah.
And he got killed.
Yeah.
I think he still got, he's still boarded.
Yeah.
But like the guy who beat him by was like such an undeniable margin.
Yeah.
It was just
You can't
like,
beat that. If they make you do a front pose and someone's a front poser, it's like,
I mean, it's crazy.
sorry, man.
It's crazy.
Not gonna win.
Yeah, and then I do want to touch briefly. The wellness winners were posted, which was super interesting. It was another one of those things where we were kind of talking about how bodybuilding has gone to like a healthier look, whether or not it's actually healthy. And the major difference you're kind of seeing is the bikini and the wellness. It's all in like the thigh and the glute.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of similarities in what it is right now, and I think it's still working. I think it's still sorting itself out. Like it's going to take a couple of years where it's like, okay, what does this really mean for us? But like, there's a distinct difference in that regard, and I'm here for it.
I like it. I think that it's a good look. I think the direction that both bikini and wellness are heading is really cool because it's like it's kicking back the girls that are relying on getting unhealthily lean to get the look as opposed to building more muscle to get the look. Because that's what happens. Is like if your muscle isn't showing, then either you don't have enough or you're not lean enough, and
Exactly.
you can't compensate for not having it by getting leaner anymore, which was causing these girls to become unhealthy and ruin their bodies.
Which I mean, we're not sitting here being like the paragons of like
Health.
body positivity and like, oh yeah, we're so wonderful, good people. Wes and I like make our jokes, but it does upset me to like when there's like, you look at like kids and like, I need to be this way, and this way is like either unachievable or like, no, like this is bad. And I do think that still it is out of grasp for most people. Be realistic, talk to your kids, yada yada yada. But now it's like, okay, this is still not perfect, but it's still a lot more reasonable than it was.
Right.
And we're moving to a place where it's like we're looking for a more athletic build, which almost anyone can do. Not everyone can do a skinny, razor thin build, but almost anyone can do an athletic build.
Well, what it's turned out to be is the people who bought the Olympia are like more, I feel like they're more business minded than the previous owners, because it's like they're selfishly trying to make more money by having more athletes and more divisions and more competitors. But what it's doing, by second and third order of effect, is increasing the amount of people that can compete and also allowing people to compete more healthy and less extreme.
Now, when they open up the dad bod division, I'll see you guys out there.
That's
You can't have abs in the dad
it's
bods.
like have shredded vascular arms, but a nice pearly gut.
I'm sorry, number 42. We did catch that abdominal. You're gonna go and have to step down. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm looking for. I mean, it is good. It is good. I like it. And that's the funny thing where like sometimes businesses do things where it's just like, stop that. You're making everything worse. But every once in a while, businesses do a thing to make more money, and it's actually like, okay, this is good
a win-win,
for everyone. This is a win-win. And we can be better people. We can hopefully one day like not all hate ourselves. If you're morbidly obese, don't hate yourself. Stop it though.
Yeah.
I love you, but like, it's not good.
Not good.
So, do we have anything else to say on that, or we want to cut to the break and then move to questions? I think that was most of it.
That's about it. I also want to say that the guy who was supposed to win the men's physique division bombed, and it was very disappointing.
I looked at him, and I mean, he looks amazing. Like he looks great. He looks stellar. But like compared to, I think
see why the first place one guy won.
Him not getting first place was obvious to me.
Yeah.
Him not getting top 3, like I thought he looked better number 2.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I don't know, like that's where it kind of gets to like the it's not like basketball. It's not like football where like there's points on board.
It's a pageant at the end of the day.
It is a pageant. It is a pageant. Keep that in mind, boys and girls. It is a pageant. They're just toddlers and tiaras, but they're full grown. All right, cool. We're going to cut you a quick break, and then we're going to get you some questions.
Yes.
As always, guys, thank you for watching. As you know, you can find us on YouTube at BNS_radio. You can find us at the same name on Instagram, and then you can find us at Back in Session Radio.
We are back.
Totally burped in the middle of that. Back in Session Radio on any podcast app. Can be found anywhere. Like, subscribe, comment. We love it.
Yes.
We appreciate you. I can't get control of my lungs. You can find me on Instagram at Dimitri Sebastian.
You can find me at WKendall_MFT. Please feed me those questions.
Num, 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 num.
I'm hungry.
And we are back. So we got a few questions. You want to go and hit them off?
Yes. So questions. Thank you for the questions, first of all. These are from clients and listeners. The first one is, why do my legs and stomach lose fat before my arms when dieting?
Let's talk about something called equal opportunity, but not equal outcome.
That's going to hurt some feelings.
And I relate with you because I lose my fat from my stomach very last.
Yeah.
It is the one place that we all care about. And then other people, it's like I lose it from my arms, I lose it from my legs, lose it from my butt. It just sucks sometimes, and that's just it. But the thing is, though, you got to just keep going.
Yep. It isn't... doesn't mean that you'll never lose it there. But unfortunately, part of the rules of the gym is the place that you want to lose fat the most is the last place for it to come off, because that's usually where your body likes to store it hormonally. You know?
Exactly.
And that's like something outside of your control. You know, it's just your physiology and your genetics on where and how you store it there, and then how long it takes for it to come off. But it can come off if you stay on it.
It is very discouraging, especially it's like, this is the one thing I want. But you kind of have to also look at it as like a alternative motivation thing. It's just like, look, it's happening. Like, let's not focus on the things that aren't going right. Let's focus on things that are going right. It's like, this is proof that you were doing the right things and you were on the path to getting what you want.
Yes.
And they're very good mile markers. But yeah, it's unfortunate. It sucks. And then like we all... You know, we've seen people who it's like they lose weight and they lose it all in their arms and their legs, and then like they kind of still have like a belly, and it kind of creates a weird proportion. And just like understand, it's like it sucks. Like I hate when people say like, no, it's great, it's fine, you're great. I'm here to tell you,
like, be happy with that. And it's like, well, yeah, kind of like be happy with it, but you could doesn't mean give up on it.
Yeah,
like you could still work towards it, and you could still like you just have to be more patient and more consistent.
It's okay to be pissed off, but don't let that anger make you not want to do it. Use it as a driving force. Use it as energy.
Easier said than done, but agreed. Easier said than done, but agreed.
You're right. You're right. It is. I'm like a rageaholic. So like the best way to get me to do things is tell me I either can't or like you're not allowed to. It's like, well, now I want to. If someone tells me you're doing like, it's like you're doing exactly what I want, and my body's just like, I don't really want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. But if you say this is like, oh, it's like you look like Shed Dimitri, you're always gonna look this way. It's like, well, catch you in like 16 weeks because now you've created a problem. You've created a problem. You've given me an enemy.
Yeah, I'm now playing 4D chess.
But yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. That's the best way to put it. It is what it is, but it is not the end.
Right.
So
it's check, but not checkmate.
Wow, we're on top of it today. We're wise. All right, what was the next one?
Next one is kind of, you brought it up a little bit already. And the question is, why do I always look worse when I start dieting instead of better? And like for me and you, it sounds like both of us experience this. When I start dieting, the first thing that happens is I start to lose weight, and my arms shrink, and my legs shrink, and my stomach looks not tight.
Yeah.
Looks kind of watery and kind of full.
Loose is the way I describe it. I feel like, because you got to remember especially when you're lifting heavy, you're breaking muscle.
Yeah.
You're breaking muscle.
You're breaking down.
And what your body's doing is sending blood, it's sending water. So you start looking kind of like, kind of
depleted, deflated.
Exactly, because your body is not
what's happening.
Crisp. And it's kind of like if you're on a diet and you something happens, you have to go on vacation and you come back to the gym, you just feel awesome.
Yeah.
That's like, that's because your body is like all healed up and good. Whereas like if you're constantly dieting, your body's like imagine like how you look when you're tired. You're like kind of like, oh, you're tired, you're beat up, you're looking like slouchy. It's like that's how your body looks when it's like constantly in this repair and like mode where it's getting things broken down.
But it kind of has to be in that mode to lose body fat, because you have to be in a breakdown mode in order to break down fat for energy. So it's like, that's why it's so important to stay on your protein intake so that you don't break down muscle too. So what happens is, think like your muscles are like batteries, and it stores carbs as the battery juice. And as those carbs disappear, your muscles kind of deflate and look saggier and waterier and less full and less crisp. So the first thing that has to happen before you start using fat for energy is you have to deplete from all those carbs first. So
The cat's getting her carbs in right now. The feeder.
She was like, I didn't realize. I was like, why is she just sitting there like a fucking predator?
Yeah, my cat knows the clock.
He was like waiting, counting the seconds for that, and then jumped right over. That was amazing.
So
you guys missed out.
Carbs depleting.
So the carbs have to disappear from your muscles and get burned off first before you can even start touching the fat to burn. So it's like you have to get fat and flat before you can start burning fat.
Okay, so I'm really glad you mentioned the fat and flat part. So a lot of people, we're coming out of summer now, so we kind of get to go into bulking season, blah, blah. Most of us don't need to actually do the bulk part. A lot of people, summer hits, and they think, oh no, I'm supposed to be going to pools, Vegas, the Bahamas, or so I need to start working out right now.
Yeah.
You are kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because now you're putting your body into this like survival mode, and then you're going to go to the vacation and you're going to just like carbo load and like also, so basically you're just like, now you're rubber banding so hard that your body's like, oh, like what are we doing? And it's going to look worse. And that is actually why I kind of resent the bulking season concept.
Yeah.
Like really you should be, if you were to start right now to start getting thin, as if you were trying to get thin for, we'll say, Christmas.
Break?
We'll say for Christmas.
Okay, deal.
If we were saying, I'm going to try and get thin for Christmas, and you just like, but you didn't go too hard, just nice, easy peasy, keep it going, like, don't go crazy on like the, you know, all the holiday food and stuff, and just continued being like, I got to get ready, not for summer, I got to get ready for Christmas. Okay, I got to get ready for New Year's. Okay, and then when summer hits, you can, we're not talking about like if you actually have like real goals where you want to get somewhere, but you just want to like look good for summer. By the time you get to summer, you're actually going to be in pretty good spot. So now you don't have to go like sudden extreme diet where your body's suffering and then going so
yo-yo.
You'll show up to the Vegas pool party. Maybe you're not as hard as you want to be, but you'll be maybe like, okay, my stomach still looks soft, but my arms and my chest are going to look hard because I am ready for it. And that's why bulking season, I resent it. I know that I've been a long time proponent of bulking season, but I've paid attention this summer and I've been looking around. And I'm like, a lot of guys just, it's like I can tell right now that you started working out really hard a couple weeks ago. Yeah. And it's like, that's not helping you.
No, it's like, they don't realize it's like a long-term game.
It is. Yeah. And it's just, if you want to be, like really like, so, if you had to pick a time to be a turd, it would be summer. Like summer should be like, this is our, if you shouldn't do this, but if you're gonna say like, I'm gonna pick 2 months where I'm not gonna be as good on my gains and all that stuff, like do June and July. That's what I would say.
And then start building your body for the next year.
Exactly. If you're doing like competing or you have like actual aspirations, like that's not your advice. Look at him, don't look at me. But yeah, it's just it's crazy. Bulking season. And it's just like, for most of us, bulking season's all damn year. So
yeah, and one of the biggest scams in bulking season is like, people are like, oh, you got to eat big to get big. Yes, it's true, but it's not eating big that meal. It's eating big the whole day by eating a bunch of small meals.
Funny how people say, the people who always say gotta eat big to get big are like the ones that you just like, you're like, hey, we're going to In-N-Out. I'm like, I'm gonna need 2 3x3s, and basically order the Chris Bumstead. I'm gonna need 2 3x3s, and then I'm gonna go ahead and just fries.
Well, Chris Bumstead had 5 chicken and rice meals before that, which they did not have.
Exactly. You know, it's like if you're gotta eat big to get big is like a way to like joke around or make excuses. Like I hope it's a joke, because that's not what that means. Yeah, because eating big to get big is miserable. It sucks.
No, it just doesn't work, because your body just can't get enough of the right nutrients in by doing that. Your stomach doesn't empty fast enough unless you eat those like bro meals. There's a reason they only eat like a few different types of foods, and it's because you have to be able to digest clear the food, and get another meal in 2 to 3 hours. And you can't do that on the Chris Bumstead fucking In-N-Out meal. Sorry, can't do it.
Let me tell you guys, being actually healthy blows. It is not fun. It is a choice. It is a decision, and your life will be a certain amount of suffering forever. But
that's what breaks you out of the marginalized.
Exactly.
It's like that's what separates you from the people who just keep doing the same thing.
I feel like that's most things, though. It's like, do you want to be successful?
Literally anything.
Do you want to be good in business? Get ready to have a bad time. Do you want to have your own business? Get ready to have a bad time. Do you want to be buff? Bad time. Fast? Bad time. Pretty? Bad time. It's just like everything sucks. If you want to be good at something, it blows. And then like when you get to the top, the pinnacle, and you're just like, I'm better than everyone.
Yes.
And that's like, that is the moment. You get to experience like real narcissism, not like the head narcissism. You get to be like,
that's so funny.
I'm better than all of you. And then someone's like, that's narcissistic. It's like, no, statistically.
Look at Jeff Bezos.
Like, I actually am.
He made it to the top, and now everyone hates him.
I'm going to fly a penis to space.
Yeah. Everyone's like, fuck you, you're a prick.
You hate me because you ain't me.
Yeah.
That's true, but you still suck.
Yeah.
And I can't hear you from up here. That's what we're all aiming for.
Basically, you're never out of high school. Ever.
You're right.
You're never out of high school.
Never out of high school.
It's just forever.
I mean, there's a wholesome way of looking at this. Like, there's actually a wholesome realm where it's just like, I've got a wife that loves me and 2 kids that are awesome. Like, oh, are you rich? Guess what? You're still being that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm spiritually fulfilled. Not you. Trust me, you can be a narcissist from so many different ways.
Very easy.
It's so this is what we're granting you guys. Just suffer. Just make sure it's productive suffering.
Yes. Do it for a reason. Suffer for a reason.
It has to be. It has to be. Do we have another real question, or can we go to a stupid one? We have a great one. And
for those of you who stuck around,
why can't we put nicotine in salad and get addicted to salad?
Legit
Popular
question.
girl in my health class 2019. And I want to go ahead and stop for a second. Because let me tell you a little bit about the addictive qualities of nicotine.
You should repost that on the page.
I will. I'll take a screenshot of it. The nicotine's bad, kids. Don't smoke cigarettes. But guess what? There's 2 things they do that make you not that hungry, and they are very addictive. And let me tell you, there's worse things to be addicted to than salad.
Yeah.
So instead of hitting your Juul, I don't even think Juuls are even really a thing anymore because high school's got mad. Your pen. You could be crushing salads, and then you'd losing weight. You wouldn't be that hungry afterwards.
Yeah.
Make that into a little chicken C's with some nicotine.
You could do the bikini girl diet and pop an Adderall and puff your Juul and eat a salad, and then boom, unhealthily skinny.
I mean,
Just
really,
kidding, bikini girls.
We've created we've created $1 million venture here. I'm giving this to you guys. If you have the capital to create the Nica salad, you are going to be the next big diet. Keto, step aside.
Yeah.
The West Coast diet, get out of here. Your clients will keep coming back.
They will. I mean, they will have to, or they'll go through withdrawals.
It makes perfect sense. It's
I heard nicotine is more addictive than like most drugs.
Yeah, it is. Speaking from experience, not great. Don't do that. It's like you being in the military. There's nothing else to do, so like everyone starts smoking and dipping because you're sitting around, and it's like, It's so funny because people are like, "Why do you smoke?" It's just like because this motion is better than nothing sometimes.
Because it's like golf. Why do rich people play golf? Because that's where the business deals go down.
Oh my god.
Same in the military.
I hated that.
Same in the military.
That was like how it was when I first started like working in like the corporate world. It's just like I started smoking because a lot of people that I needed to like be on my side were out there. So I was like on the same. I could see them walking out. I'd be like, "Oop, gotta go."
They're like, "Hey, where's the supply sergeant at? I got to talk to him." Where do you think he is? He's at the smoke pit.
Smoke pit.
Yeah, where's the arms room fucking guy?
Smoke pit.
At the smoke pit.
Smoke pit.
You need anything. That's where you got to go.
Yeah, exactly. There's gonna be the nicotine salad pit, and now you can make your deals inside air conditioning.
Yes.
And you'll be thin and beautiful.
Yeah, and it's for a good cause.
It's for. We're gonna donate not all proceeds. We're for a profit business. Let's be real here. But a large. We're gonna be like a Firehouse Subs.
Yes.
10% of all sales goes to cancer research. Boom.
Yes. 10% of all donations go to what's it called? Disordered eating or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Bulimia. Anorexia and lung cancer.
Exactly.
And lung cancer.
You're welcome. We're going to be flying our penis ship to space here soon, so keep an eye out for that. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. BNS_radio on YouTube, BNS_radio on Instagram, Back in Session Radio on the podcast apps. If you're not there, if you're not liking, if you're not subscribing, ask yourself what's wrong with you, or you can shoot us a DM and I'll tell you what's wrong with you, and I can give you some quick solutions. I just named them.
Dimitri's good at that.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And then you can find me on Instagram at Dimitri Sebastian.
You can find me at Instagram at WKendall_MFT. Please keep sending your questions.
Have a good one.